Good evening, everyone. Beruchim habayim, b'shem Hashem. As always, it's a great pleasure to see everyone. And as you know, almost every time, Parashat TETZAVE, the parasha we are going to read this Shabbat, Be'ezrat Hashem, Parashat Zachor, Shabbat Zachor as well. Every time we have to speak about the parasha, we try to get some lessons from the parasha we are going to read. Is sometimes a challenge when we are experiencing Be'ezrat Hashem welcoming Hag HaPurim, that Be'ezrat Hashem will be coming to us on Monday night, and the little dilemma of speakers, of people who are sharing Divrei Torah is, should we speak about the parasha or should we speak about Yemei HaPurim? But the truth of the matter is that Be'ezrat Hashem, what we're going to try to do today is we're going to try to combine the two, Parashat TETZAVE, Shabbat Zachor, and Yemei HaPurim, Abayim Aleinu Letova, Be'ezrat Hashem. But I want to say something as a quick point of introduction that I think worth saying. Rabotai, I would like to encourage every single one of you who are watching the SHIUR of tonight to really go over it and listen to it until the end of it, because I firmly believe that without a bit of exaggeration, I think what we are going to talk about tonight has the power to really sum up every single important point of our lives. And we're going to describe and to define in a very simple way, in a very easy way, the entire avodah, the entire service we have towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our entire life. All will be summed up in a very short time, relatively. But that requires honesty, that requires open heart, that requires being bold and brave and being authentic, to really pay some real attention of what is the avodah, what is the meaning of everything we do in our lives, and what we are actually celebrating in Purim, and why Purim is the actual most important Yom Tov of the entire Jewish calendar. But let's begin from a little bit different place. You know that in our entire life, we're going to start with Parashat TETZAVE, and you will see how it plays out, Be'ezrat Hashem, in conjunction with Yemei HaPurim. As we all know, from the very beginning of our lives, we always learned that when you look at the person, for example, at the person, you can theoretically see two separate kinds of human beings. The outer being, meaning whatever your biological eyes can show you when you see a person. The outside ways of being, and the inner being. The personalities, the midot, the tichunot, the tochen, the mahut, the essence, the content of what the human being is all about. When you look at him as from an outside point of view, whatever our biological eyes can show us, versus what the inner being of the person, which is the most important part of a human being. Does that make sense? And since a very young age, we learned to really honor and respect and pay more attention to the inner being of the person, to search for the inner being of a person, to really appreciate what the person is all about versus the way a person looks like. And in general, I believe, it's not going to be too far from the truth, that if we see a person and all we see is, oh, the compliment we have, the acknowledgement we have about a person, oh, he's a good-looking person. Good-looking person. What a good-looking person means. What does that mean if he's a good-looking person, but his inner being is empty? It's nothing. There's nothing good in it, God forbid. Not that there is such a thing, but in general, since when we care what a person dressed up with? Since when we pay attention, oh, he's wearing a very, very expensive jacket. What does that mean about a person? A person can look $1 million, but if the inner being is not there, we never learned, or tend to appreciate what the person is if the inner being, if the essence of the person is not really in a very, very high, incredible level. And all of a sudden, when we look in the Torah, and if we're brave enough to go around many similar topics, we see that it's not quite truth, because we do see that the Torah does give an enormous respect to the way a person look like, to the outer being of the person, not only to the inner being. For a simple example, is what we are going to read in Parashat TETZAVE. In Parashat TETZAVE, we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu to take Aharon HaKohen and basically dress him up, to make Aharon HaKohen the Kohen Gadol, the highest priest, and to show the world the way Aharon HaKohen is dressed up with. Aharon HaKohen is a Kohen Gadol, we all know, not the time to talk about every single one of the garments, of the begadim, but we know that the Kohen Gadol has Shemona begadim, and Shemona begadim, which basically represent Shemona bigdem malchut. Basically, every single part of what the Kohen Gadol is dressing up with is lechavod ultifaret. It's an honorable way to present Kohen Gadol with a tzitz, avnet, and hoshen, ve'efod, u'me'il, and all the Shemona begadim that the Kohen Gadol is dressing up with. And we know that the purpose of it is to really derive honor, respect, and awe by the people who are watching the Kohen Gadol. When people are watching Kohen Gadol and they see the way he looks like, they will respect him more. And apparently the question is, why do we need to pay attention to what the Kohen Gadol is based on the way he dressed up with? And if you really want to go a little further than that, we know that in general, I have to admit that the first time that I saw it, it surprised me tremendously. But it is true. You know that in some positions of leadership in Am Yisrael, we know, for example, such as a melech, a king, you know that we have qualifications. We have qualifications of what the king should be like, obviously. But more than that, we know that apparently the Torah does pay attention to the way a king look like. A king in the Jewish world, part of the requirements has to do with the Kohen. The king has to be, it's unbelievable, tall. It has to be a tall human being. Yes, like you, Josh. It has to be tall. Do you get this? It has to be tall. And we know from other places that Adoniya ben Hagit mitnaseh lemor ani emloch. And we know from other places that the king has to be tall. Really? Like why? What if a person has the greatest power of leadership, smart, has the entire wisdom of the world, he has all kinds of skills, how to lead the nation. It has to be tall. And why is that? It has to be tall because our sages tells us, Hachamim are telling us, it's incredible, but I guess it's definitely true because they say it. What they say is people respect leaders who are tall. No offense to anybody who is not. And thank God we don't have kings in our generation, so we don't have to worry about our possibilities of becoming kings. But yes, people do respect and people do honor more people that they are tall. They're more presentable. I don't know. One of my good friends told me years ago that not only people respect tall people as leaders, people also respect leaders who are skinny and fit and thin because it represents that they're taking care of themselves and they take their body in a serious way and they are not delivering a message, rather they are the message. When you see somebody who takes care of himself and they are representing themselves as people who are taking care of themselves, they have a self-discipline and power of control on themselves. It tells you what kind of skills they have to lead the world. But nevertheless, we know that there is some power on the outer being, on the way Kohen Gadol looks like, the way a king looks like. And we know that to some degree, Shlomo HaMelech said in Eshet Hayil, Sheker Ahed vehevel hayofi. So to some degree, an outer beauty does not have too much power. On the other hand, we know that the Torah does give respect and does mention, does acknowledge ורחל הייתה יפת תואר וטובת מראה. So we know that the outer being is not completely out of the game, as much as respect and honor we give to the essence of the person, the inner being of the person. But nevertheless, it looks like that the Torah does give respect and honor to the outer being. And the question is, what's the connection between the two? But in order to get there and to understand this correlation between the inner being and the outer being, I'm going to leave this on the parasha for the moment, and we're going to go to Hag Purim, sheba alenu letova be'ezrat Hashem, this upcoming Monday night. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam she'kol niyeh b'doro. Hag Purim is a Yom Tov, is a Hag Midrabanan that we all celebrate. And if we have to touch it in a nutshell, Hag Purim seems to be a little different. Let's put it this way, we'll call it that way. Hag Purim is a little different Yom Tov than any other Yom Tov that we know. If you take every other Yom Tov, the Oraita or the Rabbanan, Hag HaShavuot, Hag HaPesach, Hag HaSukkot, although they all have a common denominator, that we were in trouble, we got out of this, let's celebrate. Hag Purim is no different. Hag Purim is exactly the same. But if we pay real attention, the entire holidays and the entire Yamim Tovim that we have throughout the year, I think it's true to say that they are very, very serious days. Those days are very serious days. We have what to remember. We have the events that we experienced in the past and the messages they gave us for now. And every single Yom Tov has the power of the hashpa'ah, of the orot, of the power of the message from this Yom Tov that we are carrying to ourselves during the Yom Tov time. And from the Yom Tov we take it all year long. But Purim seemed to be a little different. Purim seem to be a Yom Tov that we are doing a lot of things that are, how do I say it, a little, listen up, a little, in a little lighter way, so to speak. I'm picking my words very carefully because it's a Yom Tov. But it seems that Yom Tov of Purim is a little different, and I'll give you a few examples. The first thing is, we have a mitzvah, it's halakha in the Shulchan Aruch. We have a halakha on the day of Purim. Hayav inish, that's the language in the halakha. Hayav inish levesume bepuria, that's the language from the Gemara. Hayav inish levesume bepuria ad delo yada ben arur Haman levaruch Mordechai. There are many explanations or interpretations, if you wish, to the understanding of the word livesume. Some believe that we have to drink wine or whatever kind of alcohol until a person is completely drunk. Looks like you like this holiday to have a little drink, but you have an obligation to drink to the extent that a person will not be able to differentiate between Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai, until you reach the point that you don't know the difference between Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai. Arur Haman, apparently, when you don't drink, it's pretty clear. Arur Haman is the one that tried to come up with a decree, with a gezerah, ב-13 לחודש אדר, פצ'גן הכתב להינתן דת בר מינן, להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד, the evil Haman, Arur Haman, as clear as possible. On the other hand, when you read the Megillat Esther, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed us with Mordechai Yehudi, and Mordechai Yehudi was able through the tefillot and the tzomot and the ta'aniyot and a tremendous siyata dishmaya to save Am Yisrael from the decree of Haman. So we have two people which represents a very simple two roles. One is Arur Haman, the evil one, and one is Baruch Mordechai, that saved us. If you don't drink and you wear your normal glasses, it's pretty simple. You look to the right and you see Haman, you say this is evil. And you look to the left and you see Mordechai and you say this is righteous. So Arur Haman on one hand, Baruch Mordechai on the other hand, life is beautiful and clear. But there is an obligation, there is a mitzvah, there is an halakha that we have to have enough drinks during the day of Purim so you will achieve the stage or the state of mind that you don't differentiate between the two. And why is that? First of all, as we all know, we never had such a custom, a minhag, that obligated us to drink. I get drunk? Where is that from? We never have any of that throughout the entire year. But when it comes to Purim, there is an obligation to drink. And not only that there is an obligation to drink, but the question is, why should a person, what is the ma'ala, what is the benefit for a person to get so confused between Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai? We should know what is Haman and what is Mordechai. Why this is even a goal. Now, when you pay attention even closer, you see that there is another minhag. There is another minhag on the day of Purim, and that is to wear customs, to put some masks on your face, to put some nahagu litchapes. There is a minhag that we are wearing different customs to look like something which we are not. What is the definition of a custom? You put something that play as if, represent something you're not really what it is, but we put a custom, we put a tahposit, and the question is, what is that? What is that supposed to mean? What is the meaning of it? And be'emet, when you pay attention even closer, you see that Hachamim, in the Midrash, and Rambam brings it, also, here's what the Rambam said about the importance of the day of Purim. The importance of the day of Purim is כל ספרי הנביאים, סדר רמב"ם, וכל הכתובים עתידים להיבטל לימות המשיח, חוץ ממגילת אסתר. Every single sefer is לימות המשיח לעתיד לבוא, will be out of the system, so to speak, except for מגילת אסתר, הרי היא קיימת כחמישה חומשי תורה וכהלכות של תורה בעל פה שאינם בטלים לעולם. If you ever thought for a second that the day of Purim is a little easy, light attitude kind of a day, it's a celebration of a different way that we always celebrate, and it's a little lighter in power or in importance. Think again. The day of Purim, Megillat Esther, has the power like Hamisha Humshe Torah, nothing less, like the essence of the entire Torah. As we also know, when we read Megillat Esther, there is another minhag mentioned in Halakha. That's how we actually do it. The way we take Megillat Esther, basically, we open the entire Megillat Esther ke'igeret. We open the entire Megillah, cover to cover, beginning to end. Then we fold it. Then we start reading it. And when we finish Megillat Esther, we have to roll it back all the way until it comes back to one piece. Then you say the berachot after the Megillah. And the question is, why? Why drinking? Why not understanding the difference between Ahur Haman and Baruch Mordechai? Why opening it all the way? Why the day of Purim is more important than any other day? And what is the actual meaning of the day of Purim? Moray v'Rabotai, if we only brave enough to pay attention to this, we might get some clarity and some tranquility of not only speaking about Emunah, not only speaking about the Kadosh Baruch Hu Borei Olam, but rather living Emunah, rather experiencing a Kadosh Baruch Hu in every single second of our lives. What is the mission statement of the day of Purim? What is Purim? What is Purim is all about? What is the mission statement? What's the main DNA core meaning of the day of Purim? The core meaning of the day of Purim, brothers and sisters, is as follows. Hag Purim comes to differentiate between illusion and reality. I'll repeat this. The day of Purim is the day that comes to teach us the skills, the idea, and the practices to differentiate between imagination, La La Land world, the whole entire illusionary world we're living in, versus what the actual reality is. And I'll explain that. You know that in the illusionary world, when we see a human being, any human being, by our own biological eyes, we think we know the person. I see you. I see you. I see a person. But that's an illusion. Because in reality, I really have no clue who you are in your inner being. I don't know anything about your traits, characteristics, past experiences, knowledge, wisdom, and God knows what. I don't know anything about you by looking at you. So when I look at the person on the outside being, I actually seeing nothing about this person. Make sense? But if I learn your inner being, I'm beginning to understand the reality of you. On the outside, you can fool anybody. You can look like $1 million. You can drive Bentley outside. You can wear any Rolex watch that you want, and it can be all fake and none of this is yours. You can make an impression that you wish to make that has nothing to do with who you truly are. But this is not only truth between people, it's also truth between us and in our relationship with Borei Olam, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with God. Because in theory, we believe that we see all kinds of events, all kinds of things that are happening in the world, and we believe we have the idea, we understand what's happening. We understand what's happening until we experience or we witness a situation that is shocking us a little bit. We don't understand. That way we have questions about God. Why this person died? He was young. He was a good person. I love when people ask me. I don't understand why this person died. He was a good person. Why good people die? What, as if only bad people are dying? Every single human being at some point in life will be going to a different zip code at one point in life. And we think we look around the world and we understand events. We understand what's happening. Look at what's happening right now, where the entire universe is shaking to pieces with this coronavirus that shook the entire world and get us so crazy and affecting every single human being on the planet Earth. And we think, oh, there is a disease. There is a disease that's just, going wild around the world. But in reality, we should understand that there is no disease, and there is no coronavirus, and there is no flu, and there is no obesity, and there is nothing. There is one thing in this world. There is a CEO to this universe called Borei Olam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he runs all the pieces, every single string that's happening in the world, economically, naturally, human beings, any disasters in the world, every single event on a global world, on a global scale, or on a community, or on a family, or on the individual. We need to understand that every single thing our biological eyes shows us in the world, it's an illusion. Because we don't know what happens and why, and who is behind what every move is taking place. The entire Megillat Esther, it's incredible. The entire Megillat Esther we read on the day of Purim, we read it in, 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, for whatever time that it takes for us to read it. And be'emet, when we read the Megillat Esther, it seems to us that Megillat Esther started on Sunday of that specific week, and by Friday they hung a man in Shabbat Shalom. The story's over. We read the beginning, the middle, the end of the story. Oh, it's a beautiful story. It's unbelievable how Haman and Ahasuerus got into the idea of putting a decree against the Jews. Happened to be that Mordechai and Esther got involved in the kingdom, and guess what? There is a great, great, happy moment in the end of the story, and Haman got hung, and the Jews are celebrating on the street. This entire story of Megillat Esther, beginning to end, took a week. Do you know how long the story of Megillat Esther actually took place? For 9 years. This is a 9 years story What makes it unique is that when you read the Megillah, you read the first part of the Megillah, you're basically reading about a specific event that took place. And what happened after that event of Nehenu miseudato shel oto rasha? Nothing. What happened the week after, the month after, 6 months after, a year after? Nothing. There was just a specific, unique event of a party that Hashverosh made. Jews celebrated with him, and we all had all kinds of different levels of participations, and that's what happened. Okay, fine, it's over. 3 years later, there was an election, and Haman was elected to be the closest one to Ahasuerus. Happened to be. Just a coincidence, just happened to be. Who in the world would ever connect what happened 3 years ago to this election? Nobody. In reality, if you really want to look at history, there is absolutely no connection between A and B. And not only that, few months later, there is another story where Mordechai Yehudi happened to put a video camera on Bigtan Vateresh, Shnesarisei HaMelech, Mishomeri Asaf, happened to be accidentally that Mordechai Yehudi spoke their language and he understood that and he heard the story, he conveyed the message to Esther, and Esther gave it to Ahasuerus, and the story was kept in the archive of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, and nothing happened. If you read Megillat Esther, you can read every chapter of Megillat Esther, perek by perek, and in the end of every perek you say, and nothing happened. And this event took place, and nothing happened. You can go through the entire story and see one thing. You will see that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is not in the story. That's part of the reasons why Megillat Esther, as the Gemara said, Esther min Torah minayin, Anochi Esther astir panai. You read the entire Megillat Esther, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not mentioned. So when you look at the surface level, when you look at the story from an outside point of view, you might feel that this is just a sequence of events that are taking place at this date, 3 years later, 2 years later. There is apparently zero connection between them. But this is an illusion. This is a fake news. Reality is that from the very beginning until the end of Megillat Esther, and this is not only from beginning of Megillat Esther until the end, but this is basically the story of us, the story of the universe, the story of the Jews, the story of life, the story of the creation. From beginning to Megillat Esther until the end of it, from the beginning of the world until the very end of it, there is someone who is pulling the strings. That's the fundamental, simple understanding of Emunah. The simple understanding of Emunah is when we are capable to simply surrender to the power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. You look at the very beginning, you think, Nehenu miseudato shel oto rasha, Mordechai Yehudi, the fanatic Jew, is standing up there and said, don't eat, yes, eat, don't eat, come on, Mordechai, what's the big deal? You don't know what might happen. Nothing happened. You see, a year passed by, 2 years passed by, 3 years passed by, nothing happened. You see, Mordechai, you was just fanatic. Yeah, you can look at it this way. But in reality, Megillat Esther comes to tell us, hey, this is the epitome of the story of our life, of our existence. That on the surface level, it looks simple. It looks coincidence. It looks sequence of events that if you are not brave enough to connect the dots, you will never find the connection between the events. But here comes Megillat Esther and says as follows. You need to understand, and this is why Purim has enough power, Megillat Esther has enough power like Hamisha Homshe Torah, because this is the story of our lives. Nothing, brothers and sisters, nothing in this universe is just happening in a coincidence. There is no such a word, there is no such a term, a coincidence. Every single event that takes place in this world is being managed by Borei Olam, by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, if we want to play HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if we want to play worrying about the world and what's going to happen, I don't know when was the last time HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asked us for help, to help him to manage the world. I think he's capable, and probably more than capable, to manage the entire universe. All we have to do is one thing. We always have to remember and to understand that whatever we see by our biological eyes is nothing. It's all imagination. Arur Haman, curse Haman, and bless Mordechai, it's an illusion. Arur Haman is an illusion. Baruch Mordechai is an illusion. There is only one truth in this universe. Understanding that we came to this world to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to go on the path of fulfilling the purpose of our existence here in this world. Now, if we do it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sending Mordechai to give us a kiss, to give us a hug, to give us some motivational support. And if we take a turn away from Borei Olam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has some messengers called Haman, Hezbollah, Hamas, Ahmad Tibi, Ayman Uda, and all kinds of people. They are not the issue. Haman is not the issue. Haman is nothing but a messenger, such as Mordechai is a messenger. The mitzvah that we have to drink on the day of Purim, to put the barriers, to put the illusionary minds down, put all walls down. So what's going to happen? What happened to a person when he drinks? The inner being truth shows up. And when the truth shows up, you understand that there is no Haman, there is no Mordechai, there is none of that. There is only one thing. There is the ability and the skill to look through Megillat Esther and to understand Marabu Ma'asecha Hashem, how is HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hiding behind every single step and every single part of this beautiful, magnificent story. The truth of the matter is that we don't have a custom to wear a mask or a custom during Purim. Do you know what the reality is? The reality is that we wear a custom all year long. All year long. We are scared to death to show people who we truly are. We all walk around. I'm a good person. I'm a good-looking person. I'm a nice person. My outside it's beautiful. I'm a nice, polite human being. What am I doing in places you never see me? I prefer not to share. I prefer you will never know the real me. So the day of Purim that we put a custom, because this is the Yom Tov of the truth. This is the Yom Tov of the truth. This is the epitome of truthfulness. At that day, we're not putting a mask. We are just admitting that we wear a mask. Because we wear masks all year long. And that's why we open the entire Megillat Esther to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the story beginning to end. How Borei Olam is connecting the dots. And that is also the reason why Kohen Gadol, Rabotai, this is important. The Kohen Gadol and a king has to look nice on the outside. They have to look royal on the outside. But do you know at what point royalty on the outside has any kind of a value? Only when the outside reflects the inner being. In other words, when you are a Kohen Gadol, when you are Kodesh Kodashim, when you are Ohev Shalom and Rodef Shalom, Ohev et HaBeriot u'Mekarevan LaTorah, when your essence is a Kohen Gadol, then you put the clothing of royalty outside of the Kohen Gadol, and those two are a great match. If we put begadim of Kohen Gadol and just a regular human being, the person will not look royal and will not be royal. That kind of royalty can only play its role if it reflects and if it represents the inner being. When you see that the inner being of a Kohen Gadol or the inner being of a king is matching, is in correlation with the outbeing, that is where the royalty of the outside become a valuable thing. Like Shlomo HaMelech said, Sheker achen vehevel hayofi, Isha yirat Hashem itit halal. True, 100%. Sheker achen vehevel hayofi is when the only thing that this woman has is the outer beauty. That makes no sense to appreciate. Outer beauty that does not reflect and does not represent the inner beauty, it's a fake beauty, it has no value. But when their inner beauty is combined and in correlation with the outer being, that is where the beauty is complete. Moray v'Rabotai, this world we're living today, especially in our specific days, is going through all kinds of challenges. We're going through all kinds of worries. I hear a lot of people, I have to be honest, I hear a lot of people this morning and many, many days. You can see people who are panicking. You know what's going to happen? The world is going to its end and it's very dangerous. This corona, these people, 16 people died there, 4 people died there. What's going to happen? To be quite honest, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the simple thing to do is be as careful as you can as a human being. Wash your hands, I don't know, do whatever a normal human being should do regardless of that. But what's going to happen, I'm really, really surprised when I see people so nervous and so panicking. What's going to happen in the world? I don't know what's going to happen. It's not my world. This world has a father. This world has a manager. This world has a CEO. What is he doing? I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not worried. I'm not worried because he worries about it. So we don't need to worry about the same thing. It's a waste of brain. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is worrying about the world, let Borei Olam. Let Borei Olam. You see, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing his face to this world and he sees us being so confident and so secure with money, finances, and powers and weapons and all kinds of things, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, relax, I can show you a little disease, you will never see it by your own biological eyes, that will drive the entire world crazy. And when that happens, we go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, Ribono Shel Olam, what does that mean? What do we have to do? What do we have to do? Nothing. There is no Haman, there is no Mordechai, and there is no coronavirus. There is one thing in this world, our mission to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to serve the purpose of our existence. Connect our outer being with our inner being, becoming a complete human being. And when we are encounter with other people, always learn to connect the inner being and the outer being. And this is the relationship we are pursuing to have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to understand that this is okay to relax. This is okay to relax and not just to believe by words, but to believe in our inner being. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control, HaKadosh Baruch Hu controlling the world. We have to do as much as we can for us, but in the end of the day, stop worrying. Stop worrying about anything. There is a HaKadosh Baruch Hu who runs this world. Serve Him with all your heart and love and connection to Him, the rest of it will happen by default, by His management groups, that we don't have to worry about it. We will never be able to do it as best as He does. And stop worrying. Just surrender to His power, because surrender to His power means facing the truth. This is the reality. This is the inner part of the universe. Anything we see on the outside, it looks real, but it's an illusion. The real thing that's happening in the world is one thing. Borei Olam is running the universe. Borei Olam is managing every single inch of this entire world. Let Him run the world. Let us serve Him. And together we will be able to serve the ultimate purpose of our existence and our being in this world. Thank you.